ॐ यश्छन्दसां वृषभो विश्वरूपः छन्दोभ्योऽध्यमृतात् सम्बभूव समेन्द्रो मेधया स्पृणोतु अमृतस्य देवधारणो भूयासं शरीरं मे विचर्षणं जिह्वा मे मधुमत्तमा कर्णाभ्यां भूरिविश्रुवं ब्रह्मणः कोशोऽसि मेधया पिहितः श्रुतं मे गोपाय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः मङ्गलाचरणम्
यो ब्रह्माण्डमिदं करोति सुकरं सत्यं शिवं सुन्दरं यस्यानुग्रहमाप्तुमेव सुजना सर्वे यतन्ते सदा भक्तिं यस्य विना कदापि पुरुषो मुक्तिं न वै विन्दते वेदान्ते च यमाहुरेकपरमं देवाय तस्मै नमः.
So today we are starting reading of the book The Real Face of Hinduism, and the first chapter naturally is Need for a Religion. So we will see what is religion and why do we need a religion. Can we not do without a religion? So these points we will discuss. So, need for a religion. The world in front of us appears to be broadly consisting of two factors, namely an insentient part comprising mountains, rivers, oceans, they have got no life, and others. And secondly, an innumerable number of sentient beings like trees, plants, insects, fish, birds, beasts, and human beings, and many such varieties of creatures. They are all sentient beings. The latter, that is the sentient beings, they originate with the necessary intelligence by which they find their own food, they grow, they protect themselves, they multiply, they become old, they die and decay. That is their life cycle of all the living beings. They have inborn instincts for these actions and they rejoice in these activities. See, in the morning you see so many birds, they will come and they will try to find some food, and they talk amongst themselves, they sing, they dance, and they enjoy. So they have the instincts for all these actions. Of all these creatures, man is endowed with extra intelligence by which he can think, communicate, and discriminate between what is good for him and what is not. This is more important. He has a viveka, that is an intelligence by which he can discriminate, this is good for me, this is not good for me. So there is a Subhashita, Sanskrit Subhashita, it says, Ahara nidra bhayamaithunam cha samaname pashubhirnaranam eko viveko yadiko naranam enaiva hina pashubhis samana. What it says, the world in front of us appears to the Sanskrit saying which opines that finding food, shelter, protection, and sex is common to both men and beasts. These are the four functions. One is finding food, and another is having a shelter, and third one is protection, and the fourth one is increasing their family or increasing their species. So this is common for both human beings as well as for beasts and other creatures also. But there is one thing, it is the discriminative power, viveka, that distinguishes men from the beasts. If men are devoid of that only, then they are no better than beasts. So the man with his superior intelligence instinctively desires to continue to live eternally, and never does he want to die. Nobody wants to die. Everybody wants to continue to live as long as they can. Finally, they will put it on ventilator or do something, and still they want to continue, pull on. So he loves and values his individuality. Everybody has his own identity. He loves it and he likes to preserve it. Secondly, he wants to experience happiness, not mixed with pain. Should be unmixed with pain, unadulterated, and undiminishing. It should not diminish also, and eternal. He wants permanent happiness and unmixed with pain, and he doesn't want it to reduce also. Man is also instinctively curious to know what is happening around him. With such an inborn inquisitiveness, man has tried to know the different forces working behind various phenomena around him: change of climate, rain, lightning, floods, all these things, how they happen, he has studied, which such phenomena which he can see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. That means they are within the five means of our knowledge, five organs. Using his five sense organs, that is the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin, and the sixth organ, the mind, that is the seat of thinking power, the intelligence, antahkarana, what we say, the man has made many scientific discoveries and invented various gadgets and devices for material gains and entertainment and remedies for diseases. So there is no denying the fact that man has conquered over all other animals and he has made his life safer, easier, comfortable against the vagaries of nature. Even if the temperature is minus 15 degrees, minus 20 degrees in America, people are happily staying inside air conditioned houses. So they have conquered over the vagaries of nature. In addition to sensual delights, man tries to seek enjoyment in obtaining material wealth, fame, and power. So, this material wealth, fame, and power alone are not enough to bring us the necessary happiness that we want. Though such material achievements are necessary to some extent to meet the basic needs of human beings, they have not been able to satisfy his desire to obtain unadulterated, undiminishing, and eternal happiness. For all these material successes are mixed with pain and are fleeting. There is a Sanskrit saying, there is a Subhashita, it says, Arthanam arjane dukkham arjitanam cha rakshane. Aye dukkham, ve dukkham, digartha kashta samshrayaha. So there is pain in earning material successes. There is also pain in preserving and protecting them. And there is pain in gaining wealth. And there is pain in spending wealth also. You are not happy when you spend something. So the Subhashita says, fie on such material prosperities, which are abodes of miseries only. So they are always with miseries. While earning money, you have to suffer. While protecting it, you have to suffer. And while spending it also, you have to suffer. So there is a popular legend in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. It sounds the same sentiment. One sage Yajnavalkya had two wives, namely Maitreyi and Katyayani. Maitreyi was the senior one. So one day he called Maitreyi and told her, "Oh Maitreyi, I am going to renounce this world, this worldly life, and become an ascetic. I am going to be a sannyasi. So, but you need not worry," he says. "You will be happy to know that I shall settle the apportionment of my property between you and Katyayani equally. So I will give you 50% and I'll give her the other 50%. So you can live happily." So Maitreyi retorted, "Sir, even if this whole earth full of wealth be mine, shall I be immortal and eternally happy?" "No," said Yajnavalkya. "Your life will be just like that of well to do people. But there is no hope of immortality through wealth. You will not be eternally happy through wealth." "Then," said Maitreyi, "what shall I do with that which will not make me immortal and happy?" So, she is expressing the same thing. The material wealth, fame, power, it cannot bring me any happiness, permanent happiness. Further, unlike other animals, further she asks, "What shall we do?" and all that comes next. Here, the point is the material wealth is not going to bring you eternal happiness. Further, unlike other animals, man is subject to many mental afflictions. He has got some worries which are beyond his control. He cannot do anything with money or wealth. He cannot get rid of these mental worries, which can be avoided or allayed by material prosperity. So I have given two examples in my service. So way back in 1982-83, I was working as Chief Public Relations Officer of Bombay Telephones. It was a central government organization with around 20,000 employees working there. So in those days, there were no mobile phones or cell phones, and the landline was a very sensitive, essential service. And as chief PRO, sitting in the head office, my duty was to attend to serious complaints coming from customers unsatisfied with the service of local divisional offices. In effect, I was sitting there getting abuses for the mistakes done by all the 20,000 employees. So, whatever mistakes they do, the people used to come angrily and shout against Bombay Telephones. That means myself. So, I was paid only for getting abused. Uh, So, it was a very difficult task. So one day a customer came. He came to me and started angrily complaining about our poor services. He appeared to be in great anguish. I got him a glass of water and requested him to sit down comfortably and then complain. For half an hour, he was telling that my telephone frequently goes out of order, that affects my business, I am losing, no one cares to attend, no one cares for my complaints in your divisional office, nobody gives me an appointment to meet, and even if they meet, I am driven out in a minute or two telling something. and still I am getting heavy bills and so on. After he finished, I told him, I have understood your problems and have noted down your telephone number. I will take suitable action and I shall see that you are not put to trouble henceforth. So you take my number. If you have any trouble, you ring me. So you don't worry. So his was a very normal routine complaint. So every day so many people used to complain like this. But what he said afterwards surprised me. He said, Sir, now you may not do anything. You are the first officer to listen to my complaint patiently. I am completely satisfied. So the cause of his mental agony was not unsatisfactory working of telephone, but it was he felt slighted and insulted by the apathy of our department. He was not wrong. Our people were like that. The point to be noted is that man has to face such situations inevitably, and such mental agonies cannot be assuaged by his material prosperity. So, man cannot purchase mental peace and happiness. That is the point to be noted. You have money, you have got good business, but this worry that nobody cares for me and nobody gives me time, so that worry you cannot get out of that by money, by paying. So on another occasion, after retirement, I was sitting with a retired colleague of mine in his house. It was in Belgaum. He happened to be the chairman of his housing society. Then one member of that society came there and complained to my colleague, Sir, I am not getting water supply in my house. My friend said, Okay, I will come and see. So that member asked, How is it that my neighbor is getting water? So my friend explained, His pipeline is different, and I will come and see the problem in your pipeline. So the member retorted, Till such time I don't get water, you stop my neighbor's water. So my friend laughed and said, How is it going to help you? So I could understand that members worry for not getting water supply. But his enhanced mental agony because of his neighbor was getting water was of his own making due to his jealousy. So man's material prosperity cannot help him in getting over his mental pains due to his own faults. Thus, though man has made his life safer and comfortable by his intelligence and consequent scientific inventions, the same intelligence has ingrained in human mind some vices like selfishness, greed, jealousy, hatred, enmity, revengefulness, etc. They stand in the way of man's efforts to live a happy life and cause strife, war, cruelty, discrimination, disparity, etc., and the resultant widespread pain and misery among the human beings. Now you see in different countries what are all things going on: constant fights, wars, cruelty, and other things. So other animals do not have such problems. Other animals do not have war and other things. Thus, man's search for unadulterated permanent happiness through his power of intelligence and scientific inventions, etc., has been frustrated by his intelligence only. Therefore, all the religions in the world have been striving to address and convince the same human intelligence that one cannot attain to lasting peace and happiness unless and until he turns to spiritual pursuits, that is, religious pursuits. Religion does not intend to tie our hands and feet and hamper our active life. It does not wish to increase our worries. On the contrary, it aims at reducing our worries, freeing us from the clutches of our own vices like greed and enmity and other things, and enabling us to enjoy the fruits of our hard work. So, almost all the people in the world have some religion or the other. 90% of world's population is having one religion or the other. Only 10% say that we don't subscribe to any religion. So by population, the biggest religion is Christianity, and the second big is Islam, and the third one is Hinduism. There are 100 crores of Hindus in the world, and the next fourth is Buddhism with about 50 crores. From these four religions, the others are all very small religions having a few lakhs or 1 or 2 crores or something like that. So 90% of the people in the world have some religion or the other. So man is inquisitive about super sensible things also. Moreover, man's inquisitiveness is not limited to the field of his five sense organs. That I told that you observe all the phenomena outside and you find out some problem with Wi-Fi. So let us continue. So I was telling that in the world, the maximum people are Christians, and second high is Islam, and the third one is Hindus. They are about 100 crores. And the next best is the Buddhists. They are about 50 crores. So next, man is inquisitive about super sensible things also. Moreover, man's inquisitiveness is not limited to the field of his five sense organs. He is curious about many supersensible matters also. For example, man wants to know whether this visible world is eternal or created. If created, who created it and why? How was it created? And who are we? And why are we here? And where did we come from? And what happens to us after death? And what is the ultimate reality? So I was telling you about a joke. A patient who is on the deathbed, he asks the doctor, he says, Doctor, what happens when I die? The doctor says, we will clean the bed and we will take another patient here. So we don't bother. So after death, what happens? The doctor also knows and nobody knows. And they are not bothered also. So our ancestors all over the world, and particularly in India, have deeply thought over such questions and found out some answers based on their intuition, experimentation, empirical experience, and logical conclusions like compulsory presumption, etc. Depending on their revelation and experience, these well meaning sages have prescribed some behavioral rules and regulations, some rites and rituals, and so on. And that is religion. Religion is not simply what one believes, but how one behaves and what one pursues and practices. So, the English dictionaries, they have not been able to define what is this religion. It says the definition of religion is a controversial and complicated subject in religious studies, with scholars failing to agree on any one definition. This Oxford Dictionary defines religion as the belief in and worship of a superhuman uh, controlling power, and especially a personal god or gods. The our Hindu scriptures, they don't agree with this definition. So Vedarasa has defined. He says, सर्वागमानाम् आचारः प्रथमं परिकल्पते आचार प्रभवो धर्मः धर्मस्य प्रभुरच्युतः. He says sarvagamanam, that means agama means Vedas which have come down to us. Sarvagamanam acharaha prathamam parikalpate. So all these scriptures, Vedas, Upanishads, etc., they define what we should do and what we should not do. They decide the do's and don'ts. And that's why he says, Achara Prabhavo Dharmaha. That which gives us how we should behave, how we should practice, how we should live, that is Dharma. And Dharmasya Prabhurachyutaha. And the highest person who is to be worshipped is the Lord, Paramatma. So, what is religion? Sarvagamanam acharaha prathamam parikalpate. And acharah prabhavo dharmaha dharmasya prabhurachyutaha. That which prescribes what one should do and what one should not do. That is, that which tells us the do's and don'ts in our behavior. That is religion. Because when you step out of the road, out of your house, on the road you have got so many alternatives or so many ways. You can turn left, you can turn right, you can go straight and all. But the road rules, they say you turn only right, you don't turn left, you can't go in front and all, because that is for your good. So when there are so many alternatives available, what the rule says, that you have to follow. Like that in life, when you get up in the morning, you have got so many alternatives to do. But religion says you should do this and you should not do that, and that is religion. So, why religion is telling like this? Because it wants you should live a fruitful life. This human life, you must put it to a better use. You should not waste it. There is a legend in Bhagavata Purana, a popular Hindu scripture. A certain saint advises a king, Yadu. He says, Labdhva sudurlabhamidam bahusambhavante manushyamarthadamanityamapiha dhiraha turnam yateta napated anumrityu yavan dishreyasaya vishayah kalu sarvatasya. See, this sannyasi, this saint, Avadhuta, he is advising a king, King Yadu. The king had all the material wealth, he had the power, he can do anything, he can undo anything. And for him, he is telling, this human life is difficult to get. You get it after passing through many lives of insects, birds, beasts, and others. Though human life is short compared to the unlimited eternal life of a jiva, it is eternal. It is unending. It is millions and millions and millions of years. It is unending. It is beginningless. It is endless. In such a period, the human life is very short, maybe some 70, 80 years. But it is in this life only one can achieve the supreme reward of release or moksha from the bondage of births, deaths, and rebirths. That is from samsara. So the wise one should quickly try to achieve the most coveted release before he succumbs to the death, which is closely following us. We don't know. Next day whether we are dying or not. How many months we are here. So we don't know because death is following us. So the death which is closely following us, the sensual enjoyments which you call as happiness and which we are running after, they are available on their own even in the lives of insects, birds, and beasts. What we try to earn and enjoy throughout our life, so these enjoyments are available in the life of animals, beasts, creatures. They also enjoy all these things. These enjoyments are available on their own. You need not even search for that one. So that saint says this human life is very important. You should make better use of it. You should not use it for earning money and enjoying. So that is his advice. So, thus, in achieving worldly prosperity and happiness, we are not doing something extraordinary, commensurate with the extra intelligence we are endowed with. So, we are advised not to waste this precious human life, but to make the maximum of it and live a fruitful life, happy life, and fruitful life. Further, we should remember that man is a gregarious animal. We like to live in a company. Each one of us is somebody's son or daughter, somebody's father or mother, somebody's brother, sister, uncle, aunt, and so on. So we are connected with so many people. Similarly, each one holds some position in a workplace. You are either a clerk or an officer or the head of the office, somebody you are. And you are somebody in the society, you are somebody in the country, and you are somebody in the world also. So, all these relatives and institutions have a stake in what one does. A person's performance affects the interests of so many. Each one has an obligation, a duty towards them. When you are a student and you are studying in the college, your parents and others also have a stake in your performance. So you should note that one. If you don't perform, your parents are unhappy. Like that, in every society, that there are so many others who are having stake in your performance. For example, when a star batsman of our country is batting in an international cricket match, even as a spectator, I have a stake in his batting. If he plays diligently to the best of his ability, he makes me happy by providing me opportunities to applaud and rejoice. And the celebrated batsman, when they walk up to the pitch, know this, that they carry this responsibility and they carry this responsibility on their shoulders. So, yesterday only, I was watching this under 19 final World Cup match. One boy from Guntur, some Sheikh Rashid or somebody, he was playing very nicely and he made 50 runs. So I was very happy. Calmly he was batting. And after 50, immediately he got some impulse and he hit a sixer, which was not necessary also. And he was out. So I was very angry. So why? What was the necessity for that one? So I have a stake in his performance. So I was thinking that he made a mistake. He should not have it. It was not necessary also. So like that, in any field where you are working, there are many others having stake in you. If you are the CEO of a company and if the company makes loss, there are so many shareholders and employees who are affected. So they have got a stake in your performance. Therefore, all religions want us to develop an integrated personality through spiritual pursuit so that our actions make us satisfied and happy and make all other stakeholders happy and put us on a path towards the goal of final emancipation and attainment of eternal unadulterated bliss. So there is no room for a wise man to doubt as to whether he should take up spiritual pursuit or not, and whether he should follow the religious rules and regulations or not. Thus, religion is absolutely necessary for each one, for his own well being as well as for the social harmony and welfare. So, any doubts about the material that I have read so far? Why we need a religion? A religion is which makes us happier and which enables us to live a fruitful life, and he will make all others connected with us who have got stake in our work. It makes them also happy that this man is working without wasting his time and all others are happy. And to make that one, religion is required. If you are allowed to do anything that you want, then you will be away from the path of religion. So religion is what tells you do's and don'ts. Achara prabhavo dharmaha dharmasya prabhurachyutaha. Any doubt in this? Okay. So now we see the efficacy of religion. You say that religion does this and that, and it will. Is it efficient in carrying out its work? Can we get all those things if we follow the religious rules and practice the spiritual practices told by the religion? He says, however, some young, inexperienced, educated persons take themselves to be rational and doubt the efficacy of religion. They say religion won't give all these things. They hold that modern scientists are far more knowledgeable as compared to the ancient sages and saints living in secluded forests, and that these scientists have contributed more to the affluence and welfare of human beings. These young ones think that the religions are a bunch of blind beliefs. According to them, the world has evolved on its own, and that over millions of years, accidentally, a monkey can become a man, a lizard can develop into a crocodile, wheat may evolve as paddy, or a guava may become a mango. Like that, it goes on evolving. That is what that Darwin's theory of evolution, they say. I do appreciate the contribution of scientists to human welfare, but a comparison between scientists and saints is not proper and is not tenable, for the two belong to two different fields. Scientists deal with sensible things which we can see and we can touch and we can hear, whereas the sages and saints are concerned with super sensible things, what happens after death and where we came from and all, that scientists can't make any research there. Further, the phrase blind belief itself is linguistically invalid because it's a tautology. So, for a belief is always in respect of matter which is not within the purview of sense organs. A belief is always blind belief. So, moreover, the religious principles are the results of collective thinking, experimentation, logic, and experience of well meaning, knowledgeable, and credible people which have withstood the test of time. Religious rules, they have withstood the test of time. So they cannot be easily dubbed as blind beliefs and dismissed. The efficacy of religion is time tested. Even during the days when there were no cars, no trains, no aeroplanes, when there were no telephones, no mobile phones or televisions, when there was no electricity, when there was no gas stove, microwave oven, or refrigerator, nothing was there. People could lead a fairly civilized, healthy, and happy life. A renowned American scholar, Houston Smith, writes, he quotes Justice Holmes, who says, science makes major contributions to minor needs. And he adds that religion, however small its success, is at least at work on things that matter most. When then a lone spirit succeeds in breaking through to major conquests, here it becomes more than a king or queen. It becomes a world redeemer. Its impact stretches for millennia, blessing the tangled course of history for centuries. So, this Arnold Toynbee, he asked, who are the greatest benefactors of the living generation of mankind? This Toynbee asked like this. And he answers, I should say, Confucius and Lao Tse. These two are some Chinese philosophers. Then the Buddha, the Indian philosopher, the prophets of Israel and Judah, Zoroaster, he is from the Persia, Jesus, Muhammad, and Socrates. All these people who promoted some philosophy, some religion, they have done more for the generation of people than the scientists. That is Arnold Toynbee's opinion. So, religion plays an important role in human culture. So, one fine morning in the year 2000, while I was glancing through a daily newspaper, I stumbled upon an astounding front page headline. The headline said, Indians rank high on the happiness barometer, second only to Americans. Among 22 countries surveyed, the survey was conducted in 1999 by an international market research agency, Messrs. Ropar Starch Worldwide, and its associates in India were Messrs. ORG Mark. At the top of the list were Americans. With all-round affluence in USA, there is no wonder if Americans ranked first. But the surprise was that the second rank went to, of all the people, the Indians. The Indians were ahead of the British, the French, and other Europeans in the happiness ratings. In the matter of economic parameters like GNP, GDP, and others, per capita income, they are economic indicators. which indicate the opulence of a country, India stands far below many other nations. Then, how come Indians rank among the happiest people in the world, next only to the Americans? The observation in the survey cannot be brushed aside as attributable to a lopsided or inadequate sample selected, for the observation is corroborated by many subsequent surveys. Another survey report says India may be lagging even some of the African countries as far as human development goes. But Indians are far more happy than most on the planet. Certainly, more than the richer lot in G8. The G8 countries, they are called as eight rich countries, no? So people in that G8 countries, Indians are happier than them. MTV Networks International declares that a study that Indians are amongst the happiest and the most religious young people on the planet today. People of all hue the world over are working hard to achieve something or the other. They want to make some development, economic progress. But some are in the business to earn more wealth. Some are after recognition and fame. Some are working to gain political power, and some may be working selflessly for the uplift of the poor, privileged. Social work also may be doing. But in the final analysis, everyone without exception is striving to maximize his or her happiness. Somebody is doing some social work, also he feels happy to do that one. Somebody fighting and with all the troubles to gain political power, but he is happily suffering there because he thinks my maximum I will be happier if I get power. So the aim of everybody is to maximize his or her happiness. How far one succeeds in that endeavor is a different question. If happiness is the instinctive aim of everyone, is it not worth pondering over what could be the factor contributing to the happiness of Indians against all odds, like economic backwardness, inadequate education, inefficient governance, rampant corruption, uncontrolled terrorism, and so on? In spite of all these adverse conditions, how Indians are happier? So we should inquire about it. The same survey of 1999 cited above pinpoints to that factor. It says the role of religion in one's life seems to be another strong explanatory factor for the high overall ratings of these nations. Perhaps it is these non-pecuniary factor, it's not a material, your financial factor, non-pecuniary factors that account for India's markedly higher happiness ratings. The survey by MTV Networks mentioned above also corroborates this invariable concomitance, that means permanent relation between happiness and religion. Thus, what distinguishes the Indians from those in the developed countries in the West is their religion and the resultant culture and the attitude towards life. Religion does not bring any additional material benefits, nor does it change the circumstances a person faces. It just changes the attitude of the people towards the world and enables them to put up with varying situations without getting perturbed. So, to give an example, it is just like making a man wiser by carry an umbrella while going out in rain, or to wear proper shoes while going out on rough roads. So what religion does, when you go out and it is likely to rain, religion just says you carry an umbrella so that you can face the situation, whatever it may be. So the religion puts you in a place where you can face your difficulties. So Hindus have remained resilient through many aggressions. So religion is not something a waste or not something unnecessary. Religion is a very necessary factor. So the 90% of the population are not fools to have some religion or the other. So let us see further things next Sunday. Okay? Thank you.